Are orbs ghosts or tiny UFOs? Is there such thing as a reverse centaur? A horse with the legs of a man? Answers to these questions and more on this episode of This Paranormal Life! Hello!
Woo!
And welcome back to This Paranormal Life, the weekly comedy podcast where every Tuesday we investigate a different paranormal tale, deciding by the end of that episode whether we think it's real or not. As always, you are joined by me, Mr. Kit Grimalvena, number one paranormal investigator in the world, and then closely followed by my...
Tied only by...
Number
your
two,
co-host.
Mr. Rory Bowers. How you doing, Rory? Dude, how you doing, my friend?
Number two, as in like the same way that two detectives working together, you have to have one detective and two detectives, both equally reputable detectives.
Like Sherlock and Watson.
Yeah, exactly, my dear Watson. Yeah, I got you there, you little bastard.
Whatever bastard. Sorry, where's that coming from? That's a little left field.
Kit and I have been hosting this podcast for a long time. Who hosted it first? Oh shit, I guess it was me. So I was probably the number one paranormal investigator, and then Kit was brought on as kind of a number two, just to mix things up every week.
You want to be number one? Oh, it's no problem by me.
Sometimes Sherlock lets Watson do a case.
And
that's what's happening today.
I'm gonna pull a Steve Jobs. If you're number one, I'm zero.
That's what I actually had to do.
I'm before you.
You know that I had to do that with my Halo 3 gaming clan.
Yeah.
Where we were called the Bro Clan. Very cool, obviously. And then one day when I was out at work, what they would do is number themselves from 1 to 4.
I was sneaky to do it while you were away.
Yeah, exactly, because
really
they knew that I would protest if I wasn't Bro 1. So I had to change my name to Bro Zero.
I can't work out who's a bigger douchebag. I don't know what I expected from Bro Clan either, but...
No one was winning in that situation.
For you guys to be douchebags, it kind of checks out. We are here for This Paranormal Life. Rory, we talk a lot, Rory, don't we, about secret government departments trying to control the paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that be the CIA covering up a psychic program, the FBI shutting down a UFO investigation, or TGI Fridays stopping Rory from ordering double lunch. There's always a 3-letter organization trying to stop this paranormal life.
It's true.
But for whatever reason, this is usually in America. I think because we speak English, but not today. Today we look at a cryptid, one very far from America and the UK, but that got in big trouble with the authorities. We're going to find out what that cryptid is. The audience already knows, obviously, because they clicked on the episode and the title of the episode gave it away, but Rory doesn't know. So ladies and gentlemen, enjoy that. Number 2 doesn't know what the is going on today.
All right.
Honestly, if we're being real, number 3, because Phil joined the company, so we demoted Rory a couple spots.
That's not fair at all.
The order of the company goes 1, Cammy for some reason, 2, Kit, the donkey lady crept in there somehow, Phil, Rory.
If it's order of kind of importance and to the company in terms of productivity, it would probably be Phil, the coffee machine, the office, and then me and Kit are somewhere at the bottom.
Right. Rory, we are going to dive into today's paranormal tale right after a couple of words from today's sponsors, with a reminder every single episode of This Paranormal Life is available ad-free right now on patreon.com/This Paranormal Life. Links in the description of the podcast episode, or if you're watching on YouTube, click that description. MFers. Today's case begins in the Sheninjia forest in Hubei province, China.
Ooh, very cool.
It's May 1976, and after a long day of meetings, 5 government officials are driving back to the mountain town of Songbai. Deputy Director of the local party office, Chen Lianshen, dozes in the back seat. At around 1 a.m., he's jolted awake. The car shudders to an abrupt stop. We had almost fallen asleep when the Jeep made a turn, and our driver, Mr. Kai, yelled out,
"You guys, look over there! It's an animal!"
He braked hard in front of it, very close, within 1 meter. It was a peculiar creature, neither a monkey nor a bear. It was on the roadside, focusing its eyes on us. In the lamplight, we saw brown and red hair grown all over its body.
Ooh.
The hairs in its arms were very long. It had 2 muscular forearms, its thighs as thick as tree trunks. It walked slowly, seemingly pregnant.
Oh!
It had fat hips, but no tail. Lianshan didn't miss a beat here. We drove straight at it. Though they drove at it, the creature, quote, leaped nimbly aside. We believe that it must be one of the savages that the locals warned us about. It was the creature's face that disturbed them most of all. Neither human nor animal, something frighteningly hybrid. They said its eyes didn't reflect any light. They were completely black. At this point, 3 of the men got out of the car, picked up rocks, and started throwing them at the creature.
Why? Why?
Mr. Kai, of course, stayed in the car and flashed the lights at it and honked the horn to scare it away. Lianshan described then how it waddled over with a hunched back to a verge to get away, then fell over a few times trying to climb over it, and eventually jumped into the trees and out of sight.
It's drunk. It's drunk and pregnant.
Yeah, you shouldn't
Dangerous
be drinking.
combination.
Yeah. Rory, this bizarre sighting would change cryptozoology in China forever. In part because of the importance of the men involved. I think if this had just been, some blokes coming back from the pub, hopefully with Mr. Kai as the designated driver, and this had happened, maybe it all just would have been swept under the rug. But these were government officials, and as soon as they could, they urgently telegrammed everything that just happened to both the Xinhua News Agency and the China Science Academy. So news of this sighting spread quite quickly.
Wow.
Now, after the sighting, the creature was gone and the men got back in the car, but they were shocked by what they had seen. What was it? It can't have been a bear, or an ape, or a bloke. So what was it? Something else? Something much rarer? Well, for one, Lianshan didn't want to forget about it, so the next day, he returned to the scene of the crime. And to his surprise, he found some red-brown hairs on the ground where the beast had been.
Don't pretend to care about it now. Don't pretend to want to get to the bottom of this. You tried to hit it with a car and you tried to stone it to death. There was no way they included all those details when they were calling the scientists. When they were like, we think we undiscovered some kind of cryptid, a creature unknown to science. And they were like, oh my God, what did you do? Did you manage to get a photograph? Kind of. Instead of taking a picture, we hit it with rocks. We did our own kind of little experiment to see how fast it could jump out of the way of a moving Jeep.
It was a real dumb piece of shit too, kept falling over. They were like, wow, this
sounds like it's hurt.
Utterly groundbreaking. I think if you were able to track this thing down, we'd probably name the creature after you. Oh shit, really? Oh, I'll get a taxi right back, honestly.
Hey boys, get the stones!
We go now. He sent off those hairs for scientific evaluation. This set off a chain reaction of events that would result in not 1, but 3 full-scale Chinese government expeditions into the area to find this monster.
Oh, yeah.
But Rory, why would the government spend an estimated 11 million yuan hunting for a cryptid based on a single encounter?
Is that a real
question?
question?
That's a real
I don't
question.
know. No idea. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not actually the type of thing we normally see.
There's such little value in even finding the creature if it is real. So spending that amount of money hunting it seems kind of silly. It's the same reason why the US government doesn't have a Bigfoot hunting project. Because they're like, if we spent $2 billion finding the thing, we don't get anything out of it when he's caught. Unless you parade him around like King Kong and sell tickets.
Rory, excellent point, even if you didn't mean it to be excellent.
All my points are excellent. As number 1.
As number 2. You're right. It's worth, frankly, piss all alive. So that must mean it leaves only one option. They want this thing dead.
That was the opposite. I said it had value alive.
No, you didn't.
I did. I said,
you said unless we start parading it around like King Kong.
What's the value if it's dead?
Because they don't want this thing to exist anymore.
Okay. Why? Why doesn't it make any sense?
Welcome to China in 1976, Rory. Not a lot makes sense.
Hey, all I'm going to say is a bunch of Chinese guys out in the forest hunting monsters. I need to learn what the Mandarin is for Dad Squad.
Right.
We need like a remix of the Dad Squad theme song.
This is like a regular Dad Squad, probably with more cigarettes, I'll be honest.
My brother, he does a lot of work in China, speaks some Chinese. I need him to maybe translate the lyrics to the song so we can have a version for covering this story.
We should at least, at this point with technology, be able to insert here an AI-generated voice singing the song.
A terrible translation.
谁会欣赏四川你14的我，不要死还是排赛。这是属于1G123 K31311考试的500白少3对4，你3不是能多3场2违反3罚3对4，一3执行2罚3对4白少3对4。2把小队。
Rory, this is what makes this case so fascinating, is because we have left the logic that we are now used to in the West, or should I say lack of logic concerning paranormal policy, and we are now deep in Mao Zedong's China.
Right.
It's 1976 and Mao still rules China. And during his long reign, he waged an all-out war on the paranormal. Of course, not just the paranormal, but all unexplained and superstitious beliefs. The government literally went around destroying historic locations and artifacts, which were proof of the country's more ancient and mysterious origins.
I didn't know that.
It was part of a sweeping, massive policy that I guess would have been, in biblical terms, this would have been like when they wrote the New Testament. They were like, everyone round up all the Old Testaments. We gotta see them real quick. And then they put them on a big fire.
Yeah.
They wanted to make sure the new story of China was the only story. So I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is exciting. We are dealing with the Chinese MIBs.
Right.
This is like if instead of seeing the Dublin Gorilla Man, you had seen the Beijing Gorilla Man.
Oh God, I don't want to think about that. The Dublin one was scary enough.
You would have had 12 agents knocking on your door with a neuralizer asking you to kindly point them in the direction of the Gorilla Man.
Now time to play the Chinese version of the Dublin Gorilla Man rap. All of our songs are getting remixes.
The songs are just way better. It's just with a kind of like beautiful sheen of K-pop style production. But it is mad, isn't it? As I say, just because we speak English, we focus so just laser focused on the American political machine and the way it handles paranormal things. And sometimes we dip our toes into, you know, the British system with the Rendlesham Forest incident and things like that. But I guess to be expected and exciting to know that the same kind of repression, even if it's a little different, was happening in China too.
Well, the repression of the paranormal that happens in our country and America, and kind of all over the West, is really just UFOs and aliens. They're not trying to repress cryptids. They're like, go out, hunt for them. If you can find them, that's cool. We really don't care. Same with ghosts and all that kind of stuff. The government really doesn't care about that. It's more UFOs and the drones and the weird space stuff. So I think this is interesting from the perspective of, you know, the Chinese government also caring about cryptids.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
It's a good point. Yeah, you never really think why that is. Why do they not like UFOs? And I guess it's because there's a sense that they want to control the release of information. That's why people have always been conspiracy theorists. Because the government is so tight-lipped about UFOs, we assume they know more than we do.
Yeah.
But in China, their motives were utterly, utterly different. But you make a good point. Is it really, even in China, all of the paranormal they care about? Because this strange sighting in 1976 wasn't important just because it was paranormal. If someone had seen a UFO, I don't know if it would have got the same attention. It's because this sighting was of the cryptid of China, the Yeren.
Oh.
The Yeren translates to wild man, and it's sometimes called China's Bigfoot.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Really don't like how much he's being referred to as a man. Just a guy. Just a human.
Yeah. Right, we're about to hear some stories through the ages of the Yeren, and maybe you can apply your modern woke brain, woke used positively here, to maybe decide whether you think this is indeed man or beast.
Okay. That should be a very clear distinction, because I'm kind of worried we're going to hear interviews with people who have witnessed them, and we're going to be like, was he tall? Kind of. 5'9". It's like, oh, shit, that's really not that tall.
What was he wearing? It was crazy. He was
Wow.
wearing like these kind of Levi's that I've never seen before. So jeans? Yeah. Like these jeans weren't skinny or baggy. They were straight jeans then. Normal jeans.
His baseball cap was on backwards. So a hat.
He was barely wearing shoes. I mean, these things were flipping and flopping all around, but flip-flops.
His fur like a fleece. A fleece.
His fur said North Face.
The Beast slogan was written on his back. It said, Nike, just do it.
So we beat him to death with a stick. Like Bigfoot, tales of the Yaren's existence go back centuries. The first written description of the Yeren is in a poem from 300 BC, over 2,000 years ago.
Don't love this.
Then, during the Tang dynasty around 600 CE, writer Juan Chengxi wrote about a terrifying group of hairy men who climbed the walls of his city. He said, quote, "Its shape is like that of an ape. It uses human speech.
Oh no, it's a man! It's clearly human!
It can foretell life and death. Its blood can dye things dark purple."
Okay.
Not quite a man. And its hair can be used to make wigs. That is very much a man.
That is a man, for sure. Human wings?
Legend has it, get this, that its heels face backwards. Ooh.
All right.
Don't all heels face backwards?
Yeah, wait,
I think they
what?
mean the wrong way around is what I'm reading at.
A heel? They mean the feet?
The back of your feet.
Okay.
Hunters say that it has no knees. And the stories simply keep going through history.
I need a picture.
In 15... We're getting
And
there.
it better not be just a guy. I swear to Christ, if it's just a man, a naked man with no knees and backwards heels.
In 1555, a newspaper described the Yeren ape men living in the caves of Sheninjia, eating the local people's dogs and chickens. Yeah, look, I think you've earned it at this point. Let's take a look at these things.
Please.
There's a wide variety of images here. I'm just going to warn you straight up. Okay, here's a couple to get you started, and depending on your reaction, I may release more images to you.
Oh, all right. Holy hell. All right, I can see why they're saying this thing is a cryptid, because it's hair. It's just the hair. That's
Wow.
what's making this thing a cryptid and not a human, is the amount of hair on its body. We are not even seeing skin. It
Yeah.
is a fluffy guy.
If this is a guy, he accidentally took all the hims.com hair growth capsules in one day.
But it is also, when we say it's kind of like Bigfoot, it really isn't, because there's no part of this body that is like, I don't know.
Well, it's not that big.
No.
There's actually no frame of reference here, so it's hard to say. But it doesn't look muscular or large.
Yeah, he's got like a gamer hunch. Like he works at a desk. He works at a call center.
He does.
In one of the
does
picture,
look like he works at CEX. He actually does.
in one of the picture, he's literally like pulling the bangs out of his face.
It's like, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It literally just looks like a kind of a very hairy surfer hippie guy. Yeah, for sure, it's a man. For sure, I think these are humans.
Well, sorry.
The weirdest thing you
To
just
be
said earlier was that he lives in the woods and eats chicken.
To be completely clear, though, long hair like a shaggy dog all over every inch of its body.
As I said, the hair is the thing that is turning this into a cryptid.
Okay, I'm going to release more images to you.
Okay. When were these drawn? One is essentially just kind of a Bigfoot Yeti style drawing. And then what is the other one?
The other one is a lot older, you'll notice. The other one says 1596.
This is just a naked guy holding the hands of a child. This raises very different questions.
Okay, all right. Hey.
But yeah.
Cool it.
Why does this one have a mustache too? He has a beard and a goatee.
I noticed under this says this is depiction of a man. We just threw
Gave
the
it back.
evidence away.
Feels like a crime for me to have that.
This one says depiction of a mountain wild man from 1596. So
for sure, stop saying man when we talk about it.
could be mixed up with the concept of the Yeren. Yeah, because it kind of feels
call him the Yaren.
Feels like Yeren is the scary Bigfoot thing.
Yeah.
Wild man is just a guy who never went to school.
Yeah, yeah.
He talks like, "Rawr." He just never learned to speak.
A feral human, yeah.
Yeah, because it was the medieval times.
Yeah.
Look, crazy shit. Okay, so look, sightings and reports of this creature are kind of endless throughout history. We could just keep listing 1896, the year 500 BC. But in this Paranormal Life, we want ideally evidence, and ideally fairly modern evidence.
Yeah.
This is where Mao's war on the paranormal was an issue, because they were actively suppressing people's sightings of the paranormal for decades and beliefs in these cryptids. But I mentioned earlier that our first story took place in 1976, and the timing was poetic because Mao died in September that year, ending his reign of China, also ending the war on the paranormal.
Open the cages, let them out. We've got like 9 of these guys.
It's like in a movie when the power grid goes down and just the prison doors open. Why does that happen in movies, by the way? Don't make that a feature of the power grid. Is that if the power grid goes down, the doors open.
Just use a regular lock and key.
And the prison guards are like, uh-oh. Guys. I think there's been a big misunderstanding. Rory, you joke that the prisons opened up and all hell broke loose. This period is actually what historians now call Yeren fever.
Okay.
Which, from what I can gather, was China's brat summer, except they worshipped a large hairy human hybrid instead of Charlie XCX. Sightings and chatter about Yeren and other cryptids flooded the culture. Now, one testimony about the Yeren that caused a lot of interest came out shortly after this period in 1981 from an ex-soldier turned hunter, Yuan Yuhao. He was interviewed, sorry for my pronunciations by the way, I have no grasp of the language, I'm trying to check the pronunciations where I can. He was interviewed for China Today, how on a hunting trip with a fellow outdoorsman, they, quote, took the dogs out to hunt while on an expedition. When I walked down 500 meters from the hill, the 2 dogs started barking. I climbed back to the hillside to get a better view. Then I saw it. This brownish red, human-like animal.
Oh, stop saying that.
That could walk
Stop.
That could walk upright and move very fast. Hey, you are one to talk. You talk about you'll never shut up about the Dublin Gorilla man, the
That's
Dublin
true.
Gorilla guy,
Yeah, I never called him that.
the Dublin Gorilla fella.
Yeah. That's just the name that I gave him. He did not resemble a man in any capacity.
Right, but you understand.
I couldn't use his hair to make human wigs. He didn't speak in a human... Didn't they say some of them just speak in English or Chinese?
Yep.
They can talk like humans? Okay.
Spoke English, yeah.
Yeah. I'm worried. I'm worried for the wild men of China.
This thing could move very, very fast. And
It could walk, it could run.
you got to
It
remember...
had a bicycle
You
at one point.
was listening to an iPod. You got to remember, Yuan Yuao was in the army, so he didn't miss a frigging beat. He said, quote, I locked and loaded my gun and aimed to shoot. But thankfully for the Yeren, Yuhao's partner intervened, grabbed the gun like in a movie and said,
It's a man. Don't shoot.
He said, you can't shoot. If you shoot and hit a person instead of a Yeren, what are we gonna do?
Oh my God.
So, maybe sense prevailed.
Not today. Not today it didn't.
But Yuan said the creature escaped.
The creature got into its 93 Toyota and escaped to live another day. This is
His
wild.
friend grabbed the gun and said, he's wearing shorts. He's wearing shorts, Yuan.
That's your mother-in-law. Don't shoot.
But Yuan did notice before it left that it was able to stand well above the 2-meter tall bamboo field it was running through.
Why is Yeren fever starting to feel a little bit like the Salem witch trials? Where anyone that kind of gets in your way or starts to piss you off is looking a little furry to you.
Yeah, is this some peach fuzz on that little chin of yours? Your chinny chin chin?
I can swear you don't have any knees, partner. Yeah, this seems this is dangerous.
Everyone's doing that thing to each other that you did in school as a little kid where people come up behind you and like poke the back of your knees to make your legs buckle.
Yeah.
Just making sure you got some knees there, stranger.
It also sounds like if you did just kill a human, you could kind of just glue some fur to them and claim that it was a Yeren and people would be fine with it.
Yeah, I like what you're saying.
No, I'm saying that was a bad thing.
Call your mother-in-law Yaren? That's interesting. Okay, Rory, not super about Yuan's story, but another story from the late 70s was written about in a newspaper in the neighboring Xi'an province. Quote, an unnamed cow herder in Hubei's Fengshan County who says that in 1979, a Yeren grabbed his wrists and wouldn't let go for what must have been 30 excruciating minutes.
That's so much time.
The scariest bit of all, Rory, this is f***ed up. The man said, quote, the Yeren was laughing all the while.
What are we doing here today?
F***ing with us. They are frigging with us.
For 30 minutes?
30 minutes.
A dude just grabbed his wrist and laughed?
Yeah.
And at that point, he still, after 30 minutes of a human grabbing his...
No, not a human, a Yeren.
This is wild.
Yeren sounds crazily similar to human as well. Human.
Yeren.
This is crazy. It really is. Rory, the guy was face to face, wrist to wrist with the thing.
Yeah.
I think he knew what he saw.
I don't think he did.
I think he did.
I think he was embarrassed to say that he got into a fight and was beaten up by a human who grabbed his wrist and was clearly having such an easy time overpowering him that he was laughing about it.
But who are these humans covered entirely with hair, utterly butt naked?
I don't know. Wild men, feral men of the woods.
Yes, so you agree they're wild men.
Men is the key point.
Look, encounters have only increased over the years. Some estimating there have been as many as 400 sightings in the years since the end of Mao China. You're saying if that guy grabbed your wrists and wouldn't let go and laughed in your face, you would say, yeah, probably a guy. It's probably called Gary.
Okay, Kish showing me another picture. Don't know why we didn't see this with the first one. This is so different than what you told me. This dude looks like he's 10 foot tall.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He looks like a hairy Chris Hemsworth.
Look, some humans are me and some are Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And we're apparently the same species. I wasn't sure. I got my DNA checked. I am.
Yeah, this thing isn't... If it grabs your wrist is popping off of your body.
Yeah.
He's going to crush it.
Yeah, he's grabbing it the same way you would grab a chicken leg out of a KFC bucket. He's grabbing it to eat it.
Yeah.
Look, encounters have only increased over the years. Some estimating there's been as many as 400 sightings in the years since the end of Mao's China. But I mentioned something earlier, that the government themselves conducted expeditions into the woods of Sheninjia Forest to find the Yeren. So what did they find?
Okay, I'm into this.
While some of the research is, as expected, classified, it looks like a surprising amount of evidence was found. Everything from hairs to footprints and even alleged Yeren droppings.
Okay.
A whole variety of government institutions were enlisted.
You did name 3 things that humans also give off. Shit, footprints, and hair. So...
I gotta keep my cool before I grab your wrist. I gotta grab your wrist and I'm not gonna let go.
Yeah, and you ain't gonna be laughing.
One report stated, it is concluded that savages live in the woods. They have long hairs, wide mouths, but no tail. They are over 3 meters in height. All right,
okay.
Name me a human that's that high.
Okay.
And they can walk upright. From their excrement, it can be inferred that they eat mostly plant roots, stalks, leaves, and wild fruits, and insects like beetles. Their living place is made up of local bamboos wound into a circle. But Rory, they found footprints. It says, plaster models taken from footprints show that their foot sizes range from 32 to 37 centimeters. The biggest footprint ever found measures 42 centimeters. Through comparisons with golden monkeys, green monkeys, and black bears, it's proved that these savages are quite different. Let's get to some physical evidence. These are plaster casts of those footprints.
Yeah, I mean, they look pretty big. I don't know how many centimeters a foot is.
Uh,
I actually don't even know how many feet a foot is. What's a foot?
you call out to me the centimeters.
32 to 37.
32 centimeters is 1 foot. But what was the biggest one? What was the biggest one? There was another 40. There was
40. The biggest one ever found was 42.
Okay, well, all right. Look, it sounds pretty damn close to being a regular human size, but a 32 centimeter foot, that's a size 15.
Okay, a human shoe?
Yes. So a size 42 centimeter would be like you are not even in the NBA anymore. You're something else.
But it is a shoe size you can order as a human.
No, it isn't. From what I can see, it is not. It is not.
Wait, what size?
It would be like a 20 something.
Oh, okay. You
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it would be
because
very
like the
much.
biggest NBA, what's the biggest shoe size you ever heard? Probably like a 17 or something.
Yeah, something crazy.
Yeah. What's the biggest shoe size?
I'm a 12, and even that feels big.
The largest shoe size ever recorded was a 37. The tallest man in history.
Holy shit! He was a
All right.
Yeren.
I take that back. Well, yeah. I mean, to give you an idea, the guy today with the biggest feet on Earth measuring at 40 centimeters.
Okay,
And that guy's probably a freak of nature. No offense to that guy, but let's face it.
that's pretty big.
Yeah.
All right.
So, almost
I
like
don't know if this
everything
helps.
else to do with the Yeren.
Yeah.
Weirdly like a human, but yet not. Right?
Yeah. I would say that was the biggest one they ever found. It says most of them are kind of human-sized feet.
All right, I don't know if this next image is going to help anything, but here's a government official taking a photograph of some poo. They found Yeren.
I'm ready for conclusions, I think, if we want to.
No, because this...
Kid just showed me a picture of someone in the woods taking a photo of shit on the floor.
This means something. The fact that the...
Never before in 400 episodes of this podcast have I been just handed a picture of poo and said, what do you think of this? Is this where we're at? Is this where we're getting to?
It ain't human. It ain't human, let me tell you that. All right.
It ain't human, and I know. Check out this picture of human shit as a comparison.
I took it this morning.
I don't want to see any more poo.
Okay, I know Rory's checked out. He's gone. Mentally. Behind his eyes we can see he's thinking about something else. He's thinking about going on holiday or snowboarding or something. And that's fine. But I think it's cool. I think it's good and wild, like the wild men themselves, that I have photographs of the Chinese government looking for cryptids. That's cool.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Look, the parts I like about this story is going to a place we don't usually go to. And I also love the beautiful thing about this story is that it's a story about human connection. That it doesn't matter where you're from, in any corner of the world, we all believe in monsters. And a lot of the monsters kind of look the same. It's funny that in China, they have a Bigfoot. If you go to the Himalayan mountains, they have a Bigfoot. If you go to North America, they have a Bigfoot. This is like a universal human story.
I see what you're saying. They're all Yaren.
Nope.
Actually,
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying...
You're saying that the evidence that we've used to prove the existence of the Bigfoot and the Yeti also would prove the existence of the Yaren.
This is only frustrating because we did just give the Yeti a double yes.
Right? Right? And he is, let me think, pretty close to China, kinda. Not everyone was unanimous with these government reports. Some experts dismissed these Yaren sightings as misidentified animals because this area has, yes, things like Himalayan brown bears, Tibetan blue bears, Asian black bears, macaques, and many wild goat species that could be the Yaren culprit. But while no one really thinks the creature's supernatural, many other experts do believe the Yaren could be an undiscovered species, or even, and we haven't even thought about this yet, an ancient human relative that has clung on to life in the wild forests of China.
You said this thing was spotted as early as, 500 BC?
Yeah, thousands of years ago.
I mean, yeah, it would make sense that this is just, that's one theory. This is just an offshoot of human evolution. We've talked about this theory before. And it's just out living in the woods.
Can I say Gigantopithecus again?
No, please, no.
It's Gigantopithecus. Or one of them. It's Gigantopithecus or it's Neanderthals or could be.
I want to go 1 week without Kit saying Gigantopithecus. It hasn't happened. We have a board in the office that says how many days since Kit has said Gigantopithecus.
Penith ejaculathon. I mean, that is I guess, a semi-scientific possibility.
Yeah.
But it's also tough. It's like, I don't think even it being an ancient human ancestor is even any more believable, really, than it being a cryptid. Because ancient human ancestors were around till semi-recent times. I think in Australia and places like that, they were around until, I'm not making a joke, I'm not like, they were around last week. There are places in the world where humans and other human species have lived side by side in the last, let's say, 50,000 years. But don't know about the 70s.
Yeah. My problem with this case is, I think when you're investigating a cryptid that involves the word man, the other part of that name has got to be pretty dramatic. For example, a few weeks ago, we did a case on the mantis man. Essentially a creature that is half bug, half alien freakazoid, but it kind of stood up like a man and acted like a man. The donkey lady, the goat man, all of these crazy mixes. If the other word in the creature's name is wild, that's not that crazy.
So I've seen MTV's Wild Boys.
Yeah.
I've seen Wild Boys. Are these wild men?
They were all human, the wild boys. So I'm just, you need a little bit more than wild to prove to me this thing is a cryptid.
There is one final controversial explanation for what the Yeren could be. Some historians have suggested the Yeren could simply be white people.
Oh.
That at least in the historical accounts, people in certain areas of China would have had absolutely no concept of what someone from a different part of the world would have looked like. So when they described red hair, wild-looking men who were able to speak a human language, were they describing Irishmen or something?
I mean, we can get pretty hairy. I've seen some hairy Irishmen before.
Yeah.
But I don't know, not to this level.
Have you seen Turkish guys bathing? You know, that is even post-Irish levels of hair.
This is a theory. I mean, maybe not. But some of these were spotted in like 1976, did you say?
Yeah. As funny as it is, it doesn't really explain the 70s or the 80s.
Or 500 BC.
Well, it explains 500 BC.
Well, it didn't explain how an Irishman would get there.
No, it did.
Get to China. The force of China.
Yeah.
He's not turning up.
Yeah. I need to find that out. When did the first Irishman arrive in China? James of Ireland first visited China in 1320.
Okay.
Shout out to James.
Very early, to be fair.
Shout out to James of Ireland. Very fitting he was called James. Everyone's f***ing called James. My middle name's James. Look, Rory, it's easy to laugh about this. It really is, because it's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's why it's easy. But, you know, as we wrap up, we shouldn't underestimate how much people believe in this shit. Not shit in a derogatory way. I'm just saying...
Or a literal way.
It's...
because we did look at some
literal.
pictures of shit.
And just to give you an example, here is, I believe, in one of these provinces, it just goes to show how the Yeren is still depicted in modern culture today. Look at this absolutely massive gate at an entrance to a forest.
Wow. Yeah, this is, they've built a huge kind of gate/statue of, why is it always old Yarens kissing baby Yarens? I guess it's just like I
think they're always in like a little family then.
Yeah, the emphasis of like family and these little tribes.
Yeah.
I don't like the drawing at the bottom. That looks like a hairy E.T. That's one's really disturbing.
It's a family of Yeren and they've all got John Lennon's haircut.
Yeah.
And it's a bit much.
And the mother Yeren, there's no polite way to say this, she has her baps out.
She has yiddies, yeah.
Yiddies!
This Yeti's got yiddies. And
I'm back in, baby. I'm back in.
Where are the beasts? Mother of pearl.
It's that X-Files meme. It's Bigfoot with boobs.
Hold on.
That's what it is.
Is that baby Yeren pissing? I just realized this. This is out of hand.
Yeah, why did they give him a little dick? And why is he peeing?
I was literally about to say, I think that statue, that gate, is quite cute. It's quite beautiful. And they gave him a little wang to pee out of into a fountain. Anyway,
I think
whatever.
I need this to end.
The Romans do that too, don't they, with their statues? Okay. I mean, that is why it was banned. I think. But it is true. I thought this case was fascinating to cover because it's a rare case that shows how the paranormal intersects with like politics and culture. Because Mao wanted to get rid of the Yeren. They hated the Yeren. They wanted to stamp out the Yeren because the Yeren represented ancient China.
Yeah.
The wild man was a symbol of what China used to be.
Right.
And they hated that and wanted to stamp it out. And that's why it wasn't that people like thought the Yeren was cool. That's not why Yeren fever came about. It was because Mao was gone. They were excited to re-explore their heritage and their history. And they were like, yeah, f*** it. Maybe the Yeren's real. Let's find him.
Absolutely. For me, this story is, as you said, cool to go somewhere we've never been before and see how other cultures and governments treat the paranormal and see what their relationship with the paranormal is. Am I a little disappointed that, unfortunately, this is their cryptid? This is their like flagship cryptid? Is that like safe to assume? Like,
I don't know.
One?
Like I just said, it's the most culturally important.
Yeah.
But that's for other reasons.
Yeah.
And that's probably just the sheer amount of the sightings.
Yeah, I don't think this will be the last time we go to China. I feel if it's anything like the other countries nearby, Japan, South Korea, we know that there's a huge roster of interesting paranormal stories, both linked with folklore and more contemporary stories. So this is cool. This is cool to get a taste of one that is both, right? It existed in 500 BC and it existed in the 80s.
Yep. And let's not forget, because Rory wants to forget, let's not forget that
I'm being
today
quite optimistic.
I have brought witness testimony spanning 2,000 years, running right up to the 80s, government investigations in which they said they're real.
Yeah.
The savages exist. We found evidence of where they live. They got plaster casts of their footprints that said did not match any other animals. Where's your head at today with the Yeren?
Look, I don't know what to say here. This thing is incredibly close to just being a human. You can't have a cryptid that speaks and talks and can communicate.
Bigfoot's telepathic.
Well, then I would argue he almost isn't a cryptid. He's a supernatural being.
Oh, he is?
A cryptid, I think, is a very specific, distinct creature. Yeah. I think so. And then there's other kind of spin-offs where it's like they have supernatural powers.
I imagine Bigfoot sounds like Hulk Hogan.
Probably. Yeah.
Hello, brother.
Today, this is kind of all over the place. This would have to mean either the Yeren have existed for thousands of years and we've never seen one, or it's one Yeren that can live for thousands of years. Both are equally improbable.
Yep.
Especially if they are essentially just humans.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a no today from me.
It's a yes from me.
Wild. That's the wildest thing I've heard.
It's really not.
What are you talking about?
It's really not. Because when you put a gun to your head, you realize...
I might put a gun to your head.
You grab my wrist.
And start laughing.
Because
this is
what kind
insane.
of hypocrite would it make me if I gave the Yeti only a couple of weeks ago
We literally saw a video of a Yeti.
It's true.
No video of a...
But much less sightings. And some footprints, yes. The amount of evidence was similar. It was just the video that was different.
We had a Yeti scalp.
But the Yeren, that's true. But the Yeren didn't have
You showed me a photograph of some shit.
The level of investigation into it was deeper, actually, than the Yeti. So it's a similar amount of evidence. So I just think it would be hypocritical for me to say, oh, the Yeti's cool. So I think I like that one. That's good. And then the Yeren, no, it's not as good, is it?
Some people said it talked to them. That's not a monster.
It's true.
That's not a creature. They said its hair can make human wigs.
I don't know. I got a good feeling about this one, guys. I'm bullish on the Yeren. I've lost it, I think. And so thanks for tuning into this one. I'm just trying to please my Chinese spy.
We all are.
With TikTok going down.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed this. Hopefully, if you are Chinese national or you speak Chinese and I don't think we have many listeners in China for obvious reasons.
You'd probably be surprised.
We should look into it.
Yeah, I think we have a decent little chunk.
Hopefully, this is the start of a glorious new epoch in this Paranormal Life history where we take another look at China. And its multifarious cryptids, and I would love to know what kind of UFO sightings are going down there too.
I would love to visit. My brother just recently did a big holiday in China, and man, I would love to go and see some of the big cities, the Great Wall, do a bit of a tour, go on the bullet train. That would be amazing.
Problem is for me, I'm going to America soon, and immigration's going to ask me a lot of questions, so I don't love China that much. Not until after
I'll have
I've
a reasonable amount.
Just the normal amount.
normal
people
amount.
love China.
Yeah.
I like the food, the music. That's it. Okay. But thank you for tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed this investigation into all things Yeren and wild men. If you are a Yeren, let us know at this paranormallifepodcast@gmail.com. Write in and let us know.
Because they probably have emails. That's how human they are.
Yeah. They have one of those QQ emails. Cool. And it's an interesting thought. Patreon.com/This Paranormal Life is the place to get kind of the Yeren of the TPL episodes.
I think even you're sad you said yes. Like it kind of just happened and now you're like, well, let's move on. Let's keep going.
No, I wear it with pride, a badge of honor. I'm proud to, hey, when the Yeren come knocking when they climb our city walls, I'm going to be the guy that believed in them. So maybe I'm part Yeren. But yeah, the Yeren, that was what I was saying. The Yeren of TPL episodes, the kind of uncannily similar to regular episodes and yet different and scary.
Yeah.
Those episodes exist only on Patreon, where for as little as $5 or £5 or whatever, you go there and get access to everything instantly. Hundreds of TPL episodes never before heard on the main feed.
He summed it up perfectly. You should check it out. Patreon.com/This Paranormal Life.
Check it out. And at the end of every episode, we like to give a shout out to those people who've supported us on the shout out tier of the Patreon.
That's right.
Do it. Oh, it's just one for today, which is a special thank you to, and there's a reason it's only one, to Ra.
That's right. If you're shouting out Ra, you don't include any other names.
Yeah.
Praise Ra.
Presumably Ra obliterated, just evaporated the other people who are on the shout out list.
Right.
Such is Ra's beautiful, gorgeous power. A lot of people have asked us why we've not been talking about Ra as much lately.
Yeah.
We're scared.
It's true.
You know? It's like staring into the sun, isn't it? Talking about Ra.
Yeah, but do Kit and I still sleep every night with a coin in our mouths? You betcha.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that's one of the things you have to do. Isn't that right? To cross the river?
Yeah, to make sure you get into the afterlife.
That's right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah, I've been doing that.
And we can only do that because y'all have been putting coins in the mouths of your paranormal pals by supporting us on Patreon, just like Ra.
So it's great to see that Ra still supports us too, even though we're not in the afterlife yet. So thank you so much, Ra. Thank you to everyone who supports us on Patreon. Couldn't make the show without you, literally.
Yeah.
We've got some really exciting things planned this year that are all thanks to the Patreon. So
we're about to become wild men ourselves this year.
Yeah.
This is the year of the Yeren.
I'm going to go butt naked and piss into a river like that little boy in the statue.
I might take a poop in the woods just to see how it feels.
Go nuts. Yeren summer.
Yeren summer,
Yeren
baby.
summer 2025. Let's see it. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been This Paranormal Life. We're going to be back on Friday with the after party over on Patreon. And of course, back on Tuesday with another paranormal tale.
再见。
谁会最想四川你10岁的我不要死还是派赛？这是属于1G123K3131考试的500少3对4，你3不是能多3场2违反383对4，一3执行283对4百少3对4。这30岁一岁100拿着5G 383倡议，包3呼吸太满我的54区，有3岁一人第二回了我有3岁一人4死。另一位生不是一位是安不是要是爱丢生一样这一样。你3至3岁拖一下是我3万5的5牛在3克斯， 可以点39374.5，这是一个400岁小三律师，15是跟3元293为1辆4卡3之1，1辆4卡3之1。爸爸小队。